This is the Modern Mastery Unleashed podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We are super excited because we have Ken Dunn here, the founder of Africa's Gift and the Eternal Flame Worldwide organization. We are super excited to get into this because we've known Ken for quite some time. We got introduced by the fabulous Liz Bateson in HiNet Connect community, but the reason why I can't wait to introduce you to Ken is because outside of what we're working on in LUXE Club Retreats, which we might touch on, he has just put together the most incredible organizations and charities that I've ever come across, because it hits so many important things that are so dear to my heart, for sure. And certainly around like women's empowerment, or uplifting, as we like to say, right, Ken? And CO2 reduction, giving back to people and planet, huge philanthropic heart Ken has. And Paul and I are putting on an event on November 20th. It's a 3-day summit from vision to victory. And half of what we are going to collect is going to go towards Ken's charities and the organization. And I'm wanting to focus more on Ken right now than the event, because you'll get all of the details about the event. But even if you just want to donate to Ken's charities, organizations, you're going to have the chance to. But I want to just dive in because, Ken, you have an incredible story in terms of what's led you to create these eco cooking bags, these solutions to problems that are happening that we don't get to see, that aren't front and center. They're not on the news. We don't get to see this part. And you had this most incredible opportunity to go to Africa, and that trip changed your life. So maybe we just start there and you tell us a little bit about Ken Dunn and how you got started with Africa's Gift and the Eternal Flame Worldwide organization.
Thank you, Natalia. I'm delighted to do so. I mean, first and foremost, I'm an educator, and education for sustainable development permeates my very being. And you know, as a young teacher in 1985, teaching geography and environmental sciences, you know, I had really kind of rosy prospects of the contraction and convergence model, where the developed world would actually reduce its emissions and it would come closer to the global south and help the global south with green evolution. And how wrong was I? Crikey, the world just got more polarized. And I was working in schools, and I was taking students to the Himalayas, the Andes, all sorts of adventurous places, really pushing them and forging new characters, you know. And actually, in doing so, I was witnessing for the first time people really struggling in communities. And I started to look inward, and I thought, you know, this is a bit hedonistic. Well, I love mountains. I really love mountain climbing, but actually, there's more to life than just getting up to the top of a peak. And actually, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna redirect my energies to communities. And the stars aligned, Natalia. Maybe it was the divine intervention. But I won a national photographic competition in the national newspaper in the UK, and the prize was a trip to Africa for 6 weeks for 2 people. My wife had just given birth to Thomas, our firstborn, so she couldn't come. So me and my brother swanned off around Africa together for 6 weeks. So we've been paying for that ever since, mind you. But when we went to Africa, we actually I was very definitely on looking for a community whereby I could actually bring my students to still grow, but actually by engaging in community activity, there would be enough adventure in that for them to be pacified. And lo and behold, it was to be in a little place called Malaya in the mountain kingdom of Lesotho. Now, I'm a graduate geographer. I'm a geography teacher. I was made Geography Teacher of the Year by the Royal Geographical Society in London, and I still hadn't known where Lesotho was. but the last 24 years I've put that right, because I've been bringing students. It's been an absolute privilege. I've been bringing students to that space, and God gave me two very large ears, and I went to listen. In the first instance, I went to listen, and I then got blessed, really, because when you go and you listen to particularly the matriarchs in the community, they're absolutely beautiful. To look at, they've got a face of leather or carved ebony, but actually they're just pure gold when you listen to what their life stories are about. And what helped me was listening through all of the noise. You get to the needs.
Yeah.
And you're quite right, Natalia. It actually changed my life. And a couple of key things changed my life. And just a couple of days ago, I actually took the very nurse that I met and I interviewed. I took her to dinner. She's retired now, and I said, "Do you remember this little interview that we had, this meeting that we had?" And she remembers it like yesterday. And I said there, is smoke a problem in your community? And listeners will perhaps not understand or not be exposed to, what I'm talking about here. And we're not talking about cigarette smoke. We're not talking about car smoke. We're talking about smoke from the fires upon which people cook their meals. And I was in the mountain kingdom of Lesotho in August, which is the southern hemisphere's winter. And there were lots and lots of fires, wood fires, outside and sometimes inside the houses. And the smoke coming from that wood was just absolutely horrendous. And, I'm a photographer, so actually I took these images, and some of these images have haunted me, actually, and actually kicked my butt. because if you see something like that, and then you have a meeting with the practitioner. So she's, Mantabi Singh was my guide in there, and she put me in touch with Makaliso, the nurse, and Makaliso said, when I asked her, "Is smoke a problem in your community?" She said, "Smoke is killing my elderly. Smoke is killing my under fives. It's making my babies come underweight and premature, and it's rendering my workforce hard of hearing, hard of eyesight, and short of breath." Now, if you just taken a photograph of a massive smoky fire and you get that, and you don't do something about it, I think there's something wrong with you. You must be a pretty callous person not to respond to that. So I did, and I'm in my 24th year now on that journey.
Congratulations, Ken. This is, when I first met Ken and I heard his story, and we're not done yet, but and he sent me a video, actually. Was it was her name Lillian? Lilibeth.
Yes,
Lillian.
Lillian, yeah.
And I remember just seeing her in her hut, and she was cooking on this open fire, and you could see the smoke just, bellowing everywhere, and you could hear her coughing, and it's just not something that is not in front of your face, so you don't think about it. And the fact that how long are they also cooking on this open fire for?
Yeah, absolutely. That video, I should maybe publicize that more on social media, actually, Natalia, because actually the first couple of seconds of that video, you hear Lillian's 2-year-old daughter, Kayla, and she's got a rasping cough.
Yeah, she does.
And actually, yeah, and that is just that speaks volumes, that cough, because actually, and again for listeners, 2.6 billion people on planet Earth today are cooking on an open bonfire for their daily meal. That's almost 1/3, every third person on Earth cooking in this way. And according to the World Health Organization, someone dies every 20 seconds from nothing other than inhaling the smoke from the fires upon which they cook their meals. And it's preventable. And the thing that really energizes me, and I'm kind of like Tigger with a new spring. I'm that bouncy at the minute because we have developed something that is actually transformational. Now, I would not use that word, if I didn't have the evidence to back it up. And funny things have happened to me, in actually assessing the impact of our work, because we've been immersed in the field, in the communities, and listening to the challenges. Some of them are pretty horrific, actually. Some of the gender-based violence on young women, going to collect fuel wood, going to collect water, I don't really want to delve into, but the statistics are really quite horrific. But what I will say is that when you come up with a practical action solution and you introduce that sensitively, and it's come from the community and it's evolved from the community, then you've got to invite people to assess the impact. So I went to Sheffield Hallam University in South Yorkshire, wonderful organization. And I said to them, look, please give me some really good students to come and assess the impact of these eco cook bags, because I know that they're doing amazing things, but I need somebody independent to come along and do it. So we got a mixture of undergrads and master students, and I prepared them beforehand, because my charity is called Africa's Gift, and it's so named because people have the perception that you go to Africa to give and go and shower the community members with stuff. And it's actually, if you do that, you're in danger of perpetuating a dependency culture. You're also interrupting the local trade that already exists. So rather go and listen to a community member and actually listen about how we can journey together. And then there's a different journey traveled when you do that. And what we did was we actually created this heat retention cook bag. And then I got students to go in and say, look, how are you getting on with the cook bag? And what happened then was, with an open question like that, how are you getting on with the cook bag? I mean, the response could be, I've never used it. It's a load of rubbish, right? But it wasn't. Almost every answer was effusive and was emotional. And a number of the 24-year-olds were met with a mama who would just hug them and cry all over them and say, Thank you for giving me my life back. One respondent said, to the very question, how are you getting on with the cook bag? She was expecting some technical stuff about length of cooking and etc. The respondent said, my eyes are no longer cloudy. And this was after 4 months of using the bag. So what is this bag, and why am I wanting people to support me in this journey, and why have I got some in front of UNICEF and some in front of the International Federation of the Red Cross and the Tanzanian Red Cross right now, and why am I in Southern Africa right now busting my butt trying to move it forward? Okay, so instead of actually cooking on a bonfire for hours and hours and hours, what we've done is we've created this heat retention. It's almost like a quilted jacket for your pan. And instead of cooking for 4 hours with 4 hours of water, 4 hours of wood, and 4 hours of the cook, you actually just use 4 sticks, only the water in the pan, and you bring it to the boil. And once it's boiling hot, once your food is boiling hot inside the pan with a lid on, you put it inside this all cloth, all natural heat retention slow cooker, and you lock in the heat, and the magic then happens. Because when you lock in the heat, the fire is out, the cook has only been exposed to 20 minutes of smoke. She's not had to go and carry wood, piles and piles of wood, because she's cooked just using 4 sticks. She's only had a small pan of water, not liters and liters of water to service the boiling away over 4 hours. And the cook turns to you, and this is the most joyous thing, and she says, "What do I do now?" And it's just amazing, because you just say, well, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, have some life to yourself, or turn your energies into entrepreneurial activities. I've just posted something on HighNet Connect just earlier this afternoon. I met this gorgeous lady called May Pinky, a really cool name, May Pinky, in Maseru, the capital city of Lesotho, and I bought 200 angels from her. Am I blessed or what? I mean, I bought 200 angels to bring back north for Christmas decorations and things, and I'm going to take them to Chrissy's event at the end of November, because and when I asked Pinky, I said, look, tell me about the cook bag and its relationship to these angels. And what she's saying is that she never had the time before the cook bag was in her possession to be entrepreneurial, to make these little crafts. And they're beautiful sewn and glued little crafts. You must have one when next to me. But actually, she couldn't do it because she was collecting water, collecting wood, and making fire. Now she's no longer in time poverty, and that's really the key thing here, is that our bags are time machines. They give back 1,500 hours of time per year back to the cook. Now,
per year, per person.
Yeah, absolutely, and the bags prevent 2 tons of CO2 from being emitted from the fires going into the atmosphere. But if I said to people, particularly people, towards the end of, more senior in life, shall I say, that I can give you time, I can give you time back. They won't believe it. Money can't buy time. Oh, yes, it can. This bag can save 1,500 hours. And I've got story after story, and the podcast's not long enough, to actually to go. But let me just tell you one thing about a young girl called Tabby Singh. We heard of a young girl that was actually unable to go to secondary school. She had got very good grades in primary school, but her family circumstances meant that she was effectively the chief cook in the family. And so she wasn't able to go to school. Okay. So we actually interjected and we said, can we do a trial with you? Can you take this cook bag? Can you use it and see if you can cook before you go to school in the morning? Can you cook your evening meal at breakfast? And we did it just in situ. She didn't leave the house. We just put it in. We said, right, don't do any cooking. Just be in the house with the family, but actually you leave the cooking alone. And it worked. And then the family said, if it works, then they didn't need to be cared for. They just couldn't cook. And so the intervention of the cook bag meant that Tabi Seng was then able to go to school. And it's pretty old school in Lesotho, and they rank students in terms of who's the top of the class. Guess who was top of the class? Yeah, it was Tabi Seng, because she had seized this opportunity. You know, and it's really strange when you compare where we are in society, where we're incentivizing people to come to school. If you come to school and you get 98% attendance, you get a free trip to Alton Towers or something. You know, it's crazy.
It is.
You know, people in this part of the world where I am right now, you know, would give their right arm for a world-class education that people are spurning. You know, so it's a, you know, you know, part of the work that I do with Africa's Gift is actually bringing people from the north to come south, and you know, one of the most foremost literary geniuses of the 20th century, Proust, said, you know, a journey of discovery is not to go and see new landscapes, but it's to view the world through different eyes. That's pretty profound, eh?
That's beautiful.
That's profound for me for 10 o'clock at night in Southern Africa. But actually, you know, yeah. So those students that have gone and seen and felt are actually viewing things differently. And this is what I'd love to do with many, many more people.
And this is the power of community, which I think is really a core value of, you know, certainly Paul and I and yourself, and really that impact, because all of our listeners and viewers, they're all impact driven. And I think anyone listening can understand why we're so passionate about partnering with you for this event, not just this event, but like a lot of the things that I do outside of this podcast, and certainly with this podcast, it has a philanthropic element, because it's just core to what, you know, I value and what we bring to the table. But I like these ecological cook bags, they are 100% biodegradable, right? And you're currently trying to get, like, the funds that we're trying to raise are going towards buying a machine, right? Buying a machine that can manufacture these cooking bags and get them into more communities. And it's not just about giving them to communities. They actually they buy them, right? Because you were talking about going into communities, not disrupting, not having them become dependent, but actually empowering or uplifting them, and so they can take control of their life in a totally different way while still being so true to themselves and their culture.
You know, Natalia, no word of a lie, I actually had a young she was about 19-year-old, this young lady, and she came up to me, and she'd been to one of the demonstrations. She actually purchased one of the cook bags, And then she was walking away, and I'm gonna get emotional recounting this. Actually, I've got to be careful not to be a big girl's blouse. but actually, she said, "You don't know how happy I am to have this bag." And then she paused, and she didn't. Our eyes met, and there were no words spoken. And she was kind of searching. She was searching as to whether she was going to say what she said next, and whether I was going to be ready for it. And I'm a trained counselor, so I was kind of nodding, and I was doing the kind of right body movements to say, tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And she said, this bag has prevented me from committing suicide. Shock.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
And she then went on, and she talked about how she'd been raped collecting firewood. Now, it's really difficult to get your head around, that level of violence, but to actually be in a community where you know the perpetrator, and you are still needing to go up into the mountains to get the wood. It must be a hugely, hugely traumatic experience. So what I'm saying about the cook bag is that, that when you can actually cook, not with masses and masses of wood, requiring masses and masses of wood, but actually just a shrub, just a little bit of shrub, almost kind of, just the woody bits of heather, if you like, those little stalks. That's enough to get your pan boiling and then put it in your bag. You don't have to go into the hills and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's one element. And this has actually been picked up on in the research about the risk that young women actually face. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that we've got two different bodies here. We've got Africa's Gift, which is a charity registered in England. And if people wish to donate, then they can go online and they go to www.africasgift.org. That's Africa with an S, GIFT.org, africasgift.org. And on the homepage, there's a lovely little hand which says donate. And if people can donate £35, or multiples thereof, £35 will actually subsidize a bag to 95%. Now, why on earth do we do that? Why don't we just give the bag away for free? And the reason for that is that we actually want dignity. We want a dignified transaction. And what we also want is we want the community member to have a conscious purchase. We actually seek a conscious purchase. We want somebody, even though it's a small amount from somebody who has very little is a big amount. And actually, this is kind of biblical, but actually, it's about relativity, and it's about, we've gone in and we said, this bag is expensive, you must buy it, and it's £5 to you. When we did that with the university in June, just gone, one of the recipients said, I want the bag. I am committed to paying for the bag for £5, but it will take me 4 months. It will take me 4 months to earn £5. Now that's almost beyond belief to many people, right? And this is the reality. We are living in a world where people are in very, very different circumstances to you and I, and have not been afforded the education that you and I have received. So one of the things that we're doing is, as well as seeking charitable donations to further this work, we're also looking to manufacture the bags through a social company and actually employ local people to make those bags. And our model is to actually make these bags out of waste. And Eternal Flame Worldwide, and that's eternalflameworldwide.com. Eternalflameworldwide.com is actually the website which shows that we transform waste ethically, socially, locally, and the intention is globally, because it's going to go beyond Africa. And probably, I'm serious that this is actually going to get traction, and it's going to go many places, because 2.6 billion people need one of these bags. And what we're doing is we're making these beautiful soul in HiNet Connect. Mina, I don't know if you've come across Mina. She's a gorgeous soul. She's actually helped me make cook bags in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and there we're deconstructing coconuts, and we're making the fiber, the insulation. And in Lesotho, we're actually repurposing the stalks of the hemp plant. And this is a very powerful plant. And this is the one that I need a machine for, because you push that stalk into the machine and it gives you this lovely fluffy fiber, which is like rock wool that you would see in your hardware store. And this rock wool is 100% organic, it's 100% biodegradable, and it's absolutely rammed with CO2, because when that plant has grown, it sucked pollution out of the sky and into there. So if there is somebody out there that wants to change lots of people's lives this Christmas, get a gift. Get a gift that will change many thousands of people's lives. And that is actually helping us get this machine that will actually turn the stalks into fiber. And it's a really posh, glorified shredder that actually pushes things different ways. And it's so sought after. It's a specialist bit of equipment. But that's the big ask for Eternal Flame Worldwide right now. But again, if there are people who really resonate with what we're doing, then actually get in touch with us, and actually see if you can really help us scale, because at the moment we're employing, people on part-time basis. We're employing people, on kind of batches, if you like. When the money comes, we can actually get 100 bags done. I actually want to make tens of thousands of bags. I want to make millions of bags. I want to employ lots of people in different hubs, in different places. And I want I want to map where the bags go, and spatially, map that so that we can see where we've got to thus far and where we need to go thereafter. And I can see this work fusing with some of the development agencies. And as I say, we've got some bags in the Red Cross. We've got some bags into UNICEF. We're having dialogue with the World Food Programme. But fundamentally, what we want to do is we want to make bags locally. And when the sales come, then the people who make the bags will actually be recipients of the profit, because it's a shared wealth company. It's not about filling my pocket with lots of money. My wealth is in my heart, and my social credit is pretty strong. In fact, if my social credit was financial credit, I'd be buying Man United right now off those Glazers. But never mind.
I just love it, and I mean, it's just so fitting, because November 20th, it's a 3-day summit. We're going from vision to victory. And as I hear your vision, I can see it, because your vision, you said you started 24 years ago. And this vision has become more and more clear, more and more crystallized. it's attracted more and more people. You know, you're in contact with worldwide organizations that are responsible for, you know, humanitarian ventures, and you know, World Health Organization is clearly going to be, I think, knocking on your door soon, just because of the sheer, I mean, I think anyone listening is probably shocked to hear of the statistics that you mentioned in terms of the smoke inhalation, the fatality of it, and the fact that this is all preventable, which is another trend that we're going into. You know, we hear it's not about the problem isn't with our healthcare, it's with our self-care. And I mean, there were so many challenges that you've listed that these women are facing, their families are facing, the communities are facing. And we are so excited to see, how much money that we can just raise from this podcast alone, but also if you are listening to this and you're wanting to get clear yourself on your own vision and take that from vision to victory while helping Ken, because 50% of whatever we're going to raise is going to go towards his charity. I'm just so grateful that you're here with us today to share this message, because there's going to be a lot of people who are listening or viewing this that'll say, how do I get more involved beyond this podcast episode or this event that's coming up? Because, like you said,
I mean, it's been bizarre, Natalia, because, you know, what happened when I got the university involved. You know, I had a really intense experience with them. It was really strong, and then lo and behold, they dressed me up like Henry VIII and called me Dr. Ken. You know. so I got an honorary doctorate of education, and then a bizarre email with which our lovely Liz would have recently received as well. You're getting an honor, you know, and you got to keep it hush hush until the end of a certain month. And for me, it was that I was on the last Queen's New Year's honors list, getting an MBE, and then I start asking questions: who's behind this? And lo and behold, the Prince of Lesotho has supported an application for my MBE. So that's very, very humbling, you know, and it's beautiful that actually you put those letters after your name, and for some people I wouldn't have talked to, but others, you know, because you've got those letters there, the door is open, and one thing's led to another, and it's been really quite beautiful that actually some of the dialogue that we've just been having with these organizations, you know, are coming real. And the other thing that I wanted to say, you know, is that when you're patted on the, and who doesn't want a pat on the back saying you're doing some good stuff, you know, we're all creatures of affection, and I'm a big hugger. I love hugging people and welcoming, you know, and the king didn't give me a hug, but he gave me a big, lovely, warm handshake, and he said, get out there and shout about this, you know, and that's what I feel that I'm doing is that, you know, we really do know that we have the ability to transform as many lives as we can reach, and I've been blessed, truly blessed, to have been able to influence thousands, and that's not enough. That is just not enough when you look at the magnitude of the problem. And one of the things that the scientists are also saying is that access to water in the next couple of decades is going to become even more difficult. Yeah. And the beauty of this way of cooking is that it dramatically reduces the pressure on fresh water, because instead of capturing buckets and buckets of water that you then top up the pan every time it boils, You take the pan lid off to stir, to stop it from sticking. You're having to top the water up that's lost through steam, and the nutrients in the food go with that steam.
Mm-hmm.
So you're diluting every time you top up. All of that water is no longer needed, because you're just bringing the only water that you need is in the pan. You bring it to the boil, and all of the nutrients are in there 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours later when you eat. And I had the most joyous weekend. I've just come from the most joyous weekend up in Malaya Lodge in Lesotho, where we managed to get, and again, I approached completely cold. I approached the celebrity chef in Lesotho, published, authoress, wonderful soul. And I said, will you meet me? And can I take you up to the lodge this weekend to actually do a cooking challenge with the community members? Because the community members that have got the bag were just so used to cooking the two staple things, which is maize flour. So it's the niblets of the corn dried and ground into a flour, added into water. You get this almost like a mashed potato type of consistency. And then beans, sugar beans or pinto beans, you boil and boil and boil and boil away. And that's the staple. And so Scar came this weekend, and she's done all sorts of recipes. And we're actually working on a little recipe book, which we're going to launch in the new year from this workshop, and 2 more workshops that are going to take place. But actually, just being in the room, and I'm not a Sesotho speaker, but actually, language was no barrier when you see all of the smiles, you hear the chuckles, you hear the prompting from the chef about this, that, and the other, and all the old ingredients that people have lost because everything's fast food, everything's flash frying. One pot, slow cooking, beautiful, natural, local ingredients. Mm-hmm. That's what we were about this weekend. Now, I tell you, it was truly, truly amazing. It was such a privilege to be part of. Yeah.
I did see something about that, because I think you posted it on your it was your Facebook page. Yes. So if anyone's looking to see this fabulous weekend extravaganza, go and follow Ken Dunn. And we're going to put the links to his organizations, Africa's Gift, as well as the Eternal Flame Worldwide. And also, his social links, so you can go and follow him and just see this journey unfold, because the more and more we talk to Ken about it, and we've been planning different things that we can do to either bring people to the communities, and really just, like you opened the conversation with that quote around the perspective. It's not about seeing new things. It's about seeing the world with a new lens. Yeah. And I think that is so gorgeous.
Natalia, what I would say is that actually, people are welcome to come.
Yeah.
And what I would say to that is actually just get a bunch of us together.
Yeah.
And actually just come. And what I would like to share with people is that it's not traumatic, it's not scary, it's not horrible, it's not the Bob Geldof image of Africans with the distended tummies and flies in their eyes and all that. It's actually beautiful community members who are just materially poorer than you and I, but actually richer in some ways than you and I, in their overwhelming sense of humanity and community.
And you can see
priority.
You can see it in the videos that you share. You can see the heart of these people. And they're just beautiful souls. Like, I do hope that anyone listening gets to go and see your videos as you post them, because they just capture so much joy. Like, you are literally changing communities, you're changing lives, you're changing the world, Ken. Like, you are one person, one environment at a time, which has always been a huge.
I mean, what I would say is that you know that there is a there's an environmental dimension to this. There's a social dimension to this. There's a health dimension also, you know, and actually, if people are in companies that are actually looking to mitigate their impact on the planet, if they have to report on their social give back, then we've got a platform for that as well through Eternal Flame.
Amazing.
You know, get in touch with us, and actually, you know, what we can do is, and as I say again, it can be much more than transactional. There is absolutely nothing to hide and everything to share, and people can actually, they can see where their carbon saving is. They can see where their social impact in their company report, you know, ends up, because you know it's there in front of them, and they can actually come and see it. You know, so it's very real.
Which is what we need more of. You know, we need more companies like yourself, like more charities and coming together with businesses that can go and partner and change the world, just like we've done at LUXE Club Retreats, and we've done at a few other things. But and we're always looking for ways to collaborate. And so you know, if you love collaboration, if you're wanting to change the world through your brilliance, get in touch with Ken for sure, because there are limitless opportunities to get involved, to help him really create these millions of eco bags, and not just change people's lives, but the planet. The planet. This is the thing that I think is incredible.
And what I would say, Natalia, is that this is not geographically restricted either. You know, so if there's a part of the world that's a particular you know passion for yourself, you know, and there are issues at play there, then you know we can actually set up the manufacture of these. The social manufacture of these bags. So it's ethical, it's social, it's responsible. All of the bags are going to, at the end of life, are going to be compost, you know, but during their life, which is 20 to 25 years of life expectancy, the bags, it's going to be transformative for the cook, and it's going to be reducing the impact on the environment and reliance upon a water resource, which is shrinking. So yeah. I've made these bags in the Caribbean. That's not a shabby place to go and make some bags out of coconuts. I've been invited to Haiti, but I'm not going there. My wife won't let me. So, but actually, if you know somewhere nearby, then let's go there and we'll ship them to Haiti instead. Yeah.
So we've got a few propositions for people. Let us know if you want to come on a trip with us. And a community impact trip that will change your life and the life of those in the community that you're going to visit. You have the November 20th event coming up that you want to register for, and then half of everything there goes towards Africa's Gift. Or you get in touch with Ken directly and you make stuff happen, because they're like, Ken is, as you've heard, he's the most amazing, approachable, funny, you know, he's just got the biggest heart I've ever come across. And I'm just so privileged to be here with you, Ken, because you're just doing amazing things that I truly hope that we can see your millions of bags get created as the years go by.
Natalia, you've given a man a stage for a man's favorite subject, which is himself, huh? So how could I not enjoy talking
Honestly,
about me? No.
Honestly, Ken, seriously, you are extraordinary, and I hope everyone has taken something from this, and they're going to reach out to you. First and foremost, they're going to reach out to you. Second, they're going to sign up for this event. And actually, second, they'll donate. And third, they'll sign up for this event. Thanks so much, Ken, from tuning in from Africa, like in Lesotho. Like, and for giving us your time. It's been amazing. And I'm sure we'll hear more from you soon.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Natalia. God bless. Take care.
Thanks, Ken.
Bye. Bye.